Let's go!
I was checking out the scout report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one to run. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach T. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Episode 52, the boys are back. Welcome into another episode, another edition of The Rewind, brought to you by Global Sports Entertainment 3. Monty Moss alongside my partner, my co-host, BG Brian Garvin. And before we get started with tonight's episode, Brian's already pissed me off because the day I decided to wear a different color than what I normally wear, this bozo wants to wear orange and want a twin like me. You see, I'm built like a Mack truck. He's built like a cannoli, but yet here we are. So we got a great episode coming to you guys tonight. Of course, all grace to the good Lord. Push, as Reverend Wilson always says, pray until something happens. And before just doing my quick roundabouts, I want to give a shout out to one of the church members at St. Matthew, a church where I'm a member at, Mr. Brother Phil. He invited me to a great, I guess I should say, webinar on Saturday, this past Saturday, to his kids at it's called the 100 Black Men. It's a junior 100 program to equip and enrich, empower by providing a world-class leadership and educational enrichment program that prepares scholars to become intellectually sophisticated citizens for learning. His team has worked to create a hybrid curriculum that provides opportunity for high school students to learn workforce readiness skills and receive introduction to corporate careers and entrepreneurship. So it was a virtual session on Saturday. I have given my word to the children that I will be making an appearance in New York in person, date to be determined. But it was a great time to go up there, about 30 minutes or so, to spend time with his young scholars, the next generation of the world, to enrich the world, I should say, just to kind of give a little bit about myself, the brand, the podcast, how we got here, just kind of give them, some motivation and stuff like that. Because, of course, as Brian says, the next generation is a little bit more doomed than my generation. But just always good to be able to give positivity to the kids, show them what can be, when you have that mindset, determination, and discipline. This, of course, is a perfect example. Taking something that is pretty much has been built from the ground up and just making the most of it week in and week out. So I just want to give a special shout out to him because I did not attend church last Sunday. Shame on me. But I was sick and I'm trending in the right direction, being better. But I just want to give a shout out to him and his students. Appreciate it. And I look forward to being there in person for the children. But BG Brian Garvin, 4-time state champion, Chicago's finest, Temple alum, over 400 career wins in his co-head coaching basketball career. He's also inducted to the Newark Hall of Fame. BG's good to see you as always. Welcome back to the East Wing after driving from Chicago last week when we had you on episode 51 briefly. But it's good to see you back home, man. What's up, brother? Good to see you. How are you?
Oh, the first thing is that
What's that?
That shirt
built like a Mack truck.
First of all, I need to wear that damn shirt.
No. Why do I? Why?
No, because I'm the one that's built like a Mack truck.
You're not. No, you're not.
The second thing is that shit is not orange. That's peach.
Well,
this is orange. That's peach.
Well, this right here is orange, and you wanted to somehow be like me tonight.
No, you think that you're in Georgia some goddamn where. That's
I wish
Georgia peach. I know you do. I know you. That's Georgia pit. That's Georgia peach. I belong in that shirt because I'm built like the truck.
I wouldn't say that. You're more built like a Volvo, a Volkswagen.
I take the Volvo. That shit is Mack truck tough.
I'm built like a Hummer EV.
No, you built like a Hum.
A Honda.
A Hum, half of the Hummer. A Hum.
Hey, look, man.
Yeah, your ass is 4'11". Get the hell out of here.
Hey, look, man. 4'11". Yeah, okay. I'm all right, man. Good to see you, brother. How was Chicago? How was Grandma, of course?
Grandma's doing well. She's hanging in there. She's fighting a good fight. Each year I have her here, it's worth $1 million, man. It was good to see her and had a great time with her the little short time, and I'll be back out there here pretty soon. So it was a good time with the fam a little bit, and I enjoyed the trip.
I enjoyed the trip for you. It was always good to see you back in home with grandma, of course, making memories and just pretty much holding on to what is still here. And I know a lot of people out there can't say that they still have their mom, but all grace to the good Lord, of course. I know, we're doing the best that we can, right? And I think that it's important to continue to uplift and motivate people as best as we can. This is a platform. Yes, it's entertainment. Yes, it's sports. And we're going to get into a lot of sports tonight. We got two beautiful guests who has blessed us with their presence because, these things here, people think that this is just like a one-off type of thing. Like I reach out to people weeks in advance. Dates fill up quickly. So I want to make sure that on this journey, we kind of just give a platform and voice to a lot of people to come on and do what they do. But, one of our guests, Bryant, tonight, she's this is our first time doing a podcast, right? Especially on a global platform because, every time I check our viewership and people that's watching, man, people from like all over the country, man, like Ghana, Brazil, Thailand. We got a guest coming on next week. I won't give too much. He is currently in Tokyo and he's sending me a little care package for next week's episode. So I look forward to that. But man, we're growing, man.
Man, how the hell he's sending you a package and I'm on this show too? It should be a dual package. I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go too. I bought them damn cards from Japan.
I want to go too. I mean, look, man. Hey, look. You know what? I might
just forget all about me.
I might have to reach out to him. I just might.
Yeah.
I just might. Yeah. But all grace to the good Lord. Let's have some fun tonight. It's going to be a great episode, and I look forward to these two guests that we have. But let's get our first one in here. The brother name is Darryl Jacobs. Dr. Darryl Jacobs, excuse me, let me come politically correct, is a nationally recognized sports journalist, basketball analyst, and executive whose work has appeared on premier platforms such as ESPN, CBS Sports Network, FanDuel Sports Network, and NBA TV. With more than 2 decades spanning media, athletics, and executive leadership, he is known for insightful analysts, compelling storytelling, and connecting sports to its broader social impact. Dr. Jacobs has held senior leadership roles across nonprofit and professional sports, including executive director of Rising Coaches DEI Alliance and regional director for the YMCA of Metro Denver, while also serving on national boards and committees in collegiate and Olympic sport. A former collegiate head men's basketball coach and athletic administrator, he led championship programs and earned multiple Coach of the Year honors. A Paterson, New Jersey native, Dr. Jacobs holds degrees from William Penn University and Southeastern Oklahoma State University and has also received an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters and was recently inducted into the Clark Atlanta University Athletics Hall of Fame. Here joining us in episode 52 is none other than Dr. Jacobs, Darryl Jacobs. You may see him on ESPN platforms. You may see him on CBS network platforms. He's a jack of all trades in the sports broadcasting industry, but it's good to have him here joining us live on the Rerun episode 52. Dr. Jacobs, Darryl, always a pleasure, honor, and privilege to have you here. Finally, timing is no better than it is tonight. It's good to see you, man. Welcome into Rewind. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I've been watching you guys periodically, watching you guys banter back and forth, your candor, and you guys make a great combination. I know the young fella, Coach B, I know he needs still wet behind the ears, but you'll get him there at some point in time.
Hey, Doc, I want to cut you off real quick here, but you're a doctor. See, you slid that one in on me. You went out and got to. Now I have to call you the old school Dr. J, because
well, you know what? You can't call me Dr. J. All-Star Weekend, I actually had a long conversation with Mr. Irving. I call him Mr. Irving. He said, call me Julius. I'm like, no, Mr. Irving. I'm going to call you Mr. Irving. And we had a great conversation with it as well. But I can never replace that Dr. J, as well. So don't even use doctor. No. Just call me Coach. Once you hear Coach, we all turn our heads. You know that.
No question. Oh, man.
Hey, man. Hey, Doc, man, don't give Bryant too much credit, man, because he knows I can flip the script in a heartbeat, all right? And he know each episode he's got to come correct. He's got to have his homework, and he's got to be ready to go because, I smack him up in a heartbeat.
You better continue to call him Doc forever.
Listen,
I will.
Well, you know what? No you know what, Brian? He don't understand. We have a fraternity. Us coaches stick together.
That's true.
regardless of level.
You know what? And you know what? I'm happy y'all say y'all stick together because I'm happy.
But Mr. Moss, you're a broadcaster now, just like me. So we stick together as well.
That's why I love you. That's why I love you right there. You see that?
Secondary.
That's okay. That's okay.
Secondary.
He knows from one broadcaster to another. He knows, and Dr. Jacobs is paving the way for guys like me to come right in and continue to torch and carry it and keep it pushing. You understand that, Bryant? Your coaching days, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, you've done a lot in your 25-year career, but some say the end is near. Some say that the ship has sailed. Some say you may not have another coaching job again. I'm just saying.
I'm better than most coaches sitting at home. It just makes
that's true.
It's just like that. But I got one more thing here, Doc. You went to school in Oklahoma in Southeast?
Southeast, yeah. I got my master's from there.
Really?
I got my master's from there. Yeah, I got my master's.
All right. So how was that? Were you there in person or did you do it online?
I did it online.
Okay.
I did it online, but I went to school in Iowa. I played at an NIA Division I school.
What
same
school?
time, William Penn University. I actually played two sports.
Right.
I played football and basketball. They don't make them like me no more. I started two sports, and when I was out there, I don't know if you remember Lisa Long. Lisa Long from Newark.
Yes.
She was at the University of Iowa playing for Coach Stringer. I would go up to University of Iowa a lot, play with B.J. Armstrong, Ed Horton, Brad Lowehouse. All those guys ended up going to the NBA as well. And then you had a lot of guys from Jersey on the football team out there. Richard Pryor from Union, a lot of guys from Jersey out there. So it was just like you would thought I went to the University of Iowa instead of William Penn. That's how much I was up there.
Now, how far is your school from Des Moines?
Des Moines, it's about 45 minutes.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I'm a Midwest guy, so I know the area. I know where the school is.
Absolutely. Oskaloosa, Iowa is a small town, college town, and it has grown by leaps and bounds. I thought it was great when I was out there being in a college town, but they got AstroTurf, they got everything now, facilities and all that stuff. So I'm very proud of my institution, my alma mater.
Oh, cool. That's what's up. All right.
It's safe to say, Brian, he dodged a bullet by not being out there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, man. That's I was there in person, and that was different.
I don't know. One episode, Brian, we might have to get you to talk about your Oklahoma experience, man, because you are the reason why I don't drink that much anymore. You are the reason why.
I would never share that on live ever.
I brought reinforcements. If you didn't know, we have another guest. She is a former collegiate and professional basketball player with a strong foundation in both competition and player development. Born in West Virginia, but now based in New Jersey after several years in the DMV. She has played 4 seasons at Fairmont State University, overcoming a significant leg injury during a 6-year collegiate journey and earning a master's degree along the way. She later competed professionally overseas with 2 basketball tours in Portugal and in Mexico. Shout out to all my Portuguese and all my Mexicanos. Love y'all. Currently, she works in coaching and player development with A-Money Basketball and is actively involved in training her nephew, who has transferred, I should say, to Hudson Catholic in Jersey City, New Jersey. As she continues to impact the game through coaching, the next chapter of her professional career remains open. Jertaya Hall, my girl, my dog. Shout out to my cousin, James Moss, connecting us to probably about a month or so ago, and we was no better timing, right? Alignment for Dr. J and Jertaya to come on. So, Jay, what's good? Good to see you, baby. Good. Welcome into episode 52, your first podcast episode, and I guarantee it won't be the last. I can guarantee that, but it's good to see you, Black Queen. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. Being a part of I see you had a couple other women guests, so, adding a little women energy here, adding some knowledge. Women are never wrong, so add a little knowledge to the group here. So
wait a minute.
Wait, say that.
Hold on.
Women are never wrong.
You starting off bad.
You can't.
For your first episode, you've already went backwards. Women are never wrong. Did I just hear that?
I'm just saying. Lead you in the right direction.
I mean, we've been blessed with a lot of women in sports to come on this platform. You are the first to say women are never wrong. The first.
Okay.
Please do not be intimidated by Bryant tonight. He has nothing to be afraid of.
You see, Doc is over there quiet.
He's very quiet. He's very quiet. He's very quiet.
Exactly. Look, exactly. A
very
no
quiet.
response is a great response.
That's true. That's
He
true.
will hold his
That's
tongue.
true. That's true.
Safe.
Look, I'm gonna tell you just like it is. That is absolutely incorrect. But that's as far as I'm gonna go.
Women are never wrong. Let me write that down.
Well, listen. I'm a legend in
women.
I'm a legend in my own mind as well. So don't have to worry about that. As well. And sometimes you got to give the illusion of inclusion, gentlemen, with them, and then you keep it moving from there. So.
Well, you're included on this show for sure.
Hey, you're included. You are now part of the Rewind fraternity family. So we embrace you. We accept you. But please make sure we rebound tonight after saying that. All right. So let's get into it. We break down NBA All-Star Recap, which was just taking place this past weekend. If you did not know, I'm happy to see the new format come to fruition, because this is probably the first All-Star game I've seen. I couldn't tell you, maybe since 2016, Kobe's last All-Star game, where the competitiveness was there, the intensity was there, and the players wanted to be there and wanted to be involved. Anthony Edwards, if you did not know, was named the NBA All-Star MVP. First in his career, his young career. There will be many more to come. In total, through the 2 games, he tallied up 32 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 13 to 22 from the field, 59%. After the game, you saw the intensity from Wemby. I thought Wemby set the tone for the entire All-Star game. I did like the format between Team World versus Team, I guess you can say Team USA, as we prepare for the Olympics. Scotty Barnes opened up the game with a pretty much a steal in 3-point in overtime to seal a deal. It was good to see Damian Lillard, in my opinion, back on the floor since tearing his Achilles. That was the last time we saw him on the court in the 3-point contest, and I'm happy that he's initiated the challenge for next year to get the NBA's best 3-point shooters pretty much on the planet, and that's Steph Curry, that's Klay Thompson, and then you can figure out who else is after that, because I want to see those 3 guys go at it to win it, and Damian Lillard to be able to defend his crown. Fast forward, the NBA season returns tomorrow night. If you did not know, the Detroit Pistons are number 1 in the East. Shout out to Kate Cunningham and Coach Bickerstaff at 40-13. It's the second best record in the NBA. OKC is number 1 at 42-14 in the West. But let's talk about the All-Star Game weekend recap. Dr. J, you said previously that you had a conversation with Dr. Julius, the original Dr. J. So give us your perspective as well as your thoughts on this weekend's All-Star Weekend. And do you see this All-Star Weekend being this tone for years to come, especially going into next year with what we've seen previously the last 10?
I thought the NBA do a very good job in terms of putting the events together, even from the G League events, All-Star Game, Slam Dunk, all the way up to the NBA game itself was very well done, very well prepared. And I thought, this year All-Star Game with the format was very competitive. As you mentioned, Wembanyama really set the tone from the outset. You kind of saw that last year, his competitiveness, his competitive fire as well. As Anthony Edwards said, he set the tone. He really made me elevate my game, paraphrasing what he said as well. I thought the competitiveness overall was great. You had Team Stripes, which was the older NBA players, had a good showing. As well. The world actually did a pretty good job as well. Overall, I think the competitiveness and the toughness and the entertainment really brought the fans back together, and the viewership actually was very pleased to a degree with what they saw.
Yeah, this year's NBA All-Star Game set a record for the first time in a long time. We know previously it wasn't that much, I should say, competitive, more entertaining than competitive. I am happy to see that this is the first All-Star Game where we didn't have 2 teams pretty much score almost 200 points in a single game. Defense was there. The intensity was there. I thought both coaches did a really good job preparing their team for that. And you could see on the floor from the competitive spirit of Kevin Durant, from Jaylen Brown to LeBron to Wemby to Anthony Edwards, players that matter. Kate Cunningham showed up. And then when you got President Obama on the sidelines with Michelle and family, how could you not go out there and play hard? So, Bryant, let's turn it over to you, because you've been an advocate for the All-Star Game, wanting to improve as well as All-Star Weekend. But give us your thoughts from what you saw.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Wasn't even interested in even watching the game because of previous. They kind of lulled me to sleep. I usually do watch it. So this time, because of a death of a friend, I really didn't watch it this year. However, I'm happy to hear from Dr. J that it was more of a competitive game because the list of freshmen that's getting ready to come into the league now that can roll over into the next 15, 20 years and keep it rolling to making something more competitive. That's great to hear. From what I heard from a couple of friends of mine, the dunk contest was absolutely terrible. From what I'm hearing, I could be wrong. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was really, really bad, and that's something that also need to change because I used to watch it all the time. I would never miss it, but over the past 5 to 10 years, I just haven't watched it because it just showed no interest in those guys who wasn't putting forth a great effort. So that's just my take on it.
T, I'm gonna call you T tonight. All right, I'm not saying your name. Your name is T tonight. Throughout tonight's episode, throughout All-Star Weekend, especially with the games on Sunday, we had 3-game winners. We had a buzzer beater. As I talked about earlier with Scotty Barnes, we had World versus Stripes, something that was implemented new this year. What was your takeaway from this year's All-Star game, and how confident are you to see the NBA pretty much build on it for going into next season?
Well, I'm going to go along with Brian a little bit on the not really watching it much so as, like you said, scoring 200 points, really lack of defense. Wasn't really aggression towards it, so I didn't really care too much to watch it. This year, I did think it was interesting, Ant winning MVP, though, because Timberwolves hasn't won it since, 2003 maybe? So I thought that was very interesting. That was very nice to see. As you said as well, I was happy to see Dame come back and be able to win the three-point contest after not playing. That was good because I thought Devin Booker was going to have it. So that was very interesting to see. And like you said, some of the young ballers as well coming in, putting up good scores. So the three-point contest was pretty good. It wasn't bad to me. But like you said, the dunk contest, as well as I heard, it was very, very disappointing. So
very, very. Hey, Brian, we got folks in the dunk contest hitting heads on backboards, hitting heads on the ground, concussions, being rolled out. It was just some people say they blame LeBron for the dunk contest. I'm not sure who to blame. I just think, these players are offered. They just decide not to accept the invitation. I would like to see Ja Morant. I would like to see Anthony Edwards. I would like to see Zion Williamson. I would like to see – at one point I did want to see LeBron. But, when they say no, can you blame them? Or how do you replace the top stars, the top dunkers, I should say, of the league and trying to find the best – I would love to see Matt McClung come back. He's a slam dunk champion. Give the guy opportunity.
Well, he declined to return.
I don't blame him.
He declined to return, and rightly so. You have to understand, even though he's a 3-time champion, he don't want to be known for that. He's really trying to find his niche to get with an NBA team now and focus on his brand as a player instead of a slam dunk champion. So I understood why he declined not to be a part of it as well. And the talk in Los Angeles basically was, this generation, people not getting a slam dunk. And I do blame LeBron to a degree because he never entered one. And that's, you got to figure why he never entered one. I don't know if you ever watch LeBron and warm up and I talk to him, he putting on a dunk show, but he never got into the slam dunk competition. He's sort of like, LeBron is like really the king. The guys follow him behind the scenes. He really sets the tone, and he could have very well said, hey guys, I'm going to go in it, whatever the case may be. I don't know why he never went into it. I don't know why this generation of players are not as competitive as those guys in the past. With it as well. And there's a lot of theories behind it, as well. But I'm a great LeBron James fan. I think he's the most physically gifted player to ever play the game. I ain't say the best, physically gifted player to ever play the game of basketball. So
I'm going to put you in a hot seat. Okay. Where do you rank him all time?
2, no question. 2.
All right, Brian, you know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about it. I just wanted his answer. I respect it. Dr. J has spoken. I respect it. number 2.
No. Well, listen, you got your criteria. Everything is based on criteria. You can set a criteria that's going to favor, LeBron. LeBron has been around for 100 years already, and he should have all the records, all the assists, titles, and all that stuff, the points and all that stuff with it as well. But it depends on your criteria, what you're setting. If you're basing it on championship scoring, and I've talked to a lot of retired players who played against both of them. Hands down, they say Michael Jordan by far is better than LeBron James.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And from a competitive nature, and they say it's based on competitive nature, being able to rise to the occasion of big shots and being able to lead your team. And that's the criteria they base it on. They say LeBron is the most physically gifted player and might even have overall more skills than Michael Jordan, but he don't have that killer instinct.
He ain't got that closer instinct either. Where do you rank Kobe on your list?
I'll put Kobe probably in the top 5. You have to consider Kareem as well. And, and everybody keeps always sleeping on Kareem as well. And then if you're looking overall, if Magic Johnson was athletic as LeBron James was, we'd be talking about him differently, as well, in terms of his gifts and all that kind of stuff with it as well. But there's always debate who's the top, where you rate guys at. It all depends what criteria you're setting is all in regards to that. You talk about Larry Bird, you talk about Julius Erving, you talk about Steph Curry. All those guys you can rank up there depending on where you want to start at, what category you're thinking about, what criteria you're setting, as well. You always get in that debate, but hands down, I always tell people LeBron James is number 2 on my list. And I got my reasons why. And,
I would like to hear them reasons someday. Because you know what? It's funny. You just sparked an idea because I've had a former guest from Passaic, great guy. But he has LeBron number 1 all time. Oh. And then a part of his list, he's got Isaiah Thomas at 8, and then he has Kobe at 12. And I think he's a LeBron fan for sure. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to put both of you guys together on a platform, and we're going to break this down. T, you're more than welcome to come because I want to hear your perspective. And I promise you, by the time I'm done, I will probably convince the entire world why Kobe belongs, if not in the top 10, in the top 5. I know, respect to the legends, the OGs, but man, for people to have LeBron at 1.
What makes it tough for Kobe is the fact that, he's a prototype of Michael Jordan. So people really don't give him the respect that he deserves because he's like Michael Jordan too. So therefore, they kind of downplay him a little bit. By far, to me, he's in the top 5. I would say.
Thank you. T, you agree? Yeah. You agree, T?
I agree. 12 is insane.
Wild.
12 players. Yeah, 12.
12?
Well, it depends on the criteria.
There's no criteria out there that has Kobe outside the top 10. No criteria. None.
I've been privy to watch. I've been privy to watch basketball in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, 20s. Now I've seen every era of basketball and guys who play. And different eras have different skill sets. That's think about this. Back in the 70s and 80s, especially in the 80s, without really a three-point line, anything like that, they were scoring the basketball at will. Even in the 70s, you had guys scoring over 100 points every game without 3-pointers. The efficiency was something at a high level, shooting and scoring. And then all of a sudden, even with the hand checking, guys were scoring the basketball. Once this new generation came around, I'd probably say about the 90s, which we call changed the rules of the game defensively in terms of not allowing you to hand check because he wanted to make it more entertainment as well. The guys had the athleticism, but they didn't have the skill set. So they changed the game to make it more entertaining. You took away the hand checking, the arm bars, the rough tactics in basketball because they wanted to make it more entertaining. Now, prior to in 1970s, the NBA had lost its luster. People don't realize that. Everybody think it was an all-black league. A lot of people stopped coming to the games because the league was all black. Then all of a sudden, 1979-80, guess who came in? Larry Bird. And Larry Bird really rejuvenated. Him and Magic really rejuvenated the
Saved the league. Yes.
Saved the league, absolutely, because it was on its way down. Even with the merger with the ABA teams, Dr. J and those guys coming over, the fan base was mostly white, and they didn't like the league being mostly all black until Larry Bird showed up and really changed the whole dynamics of it all over again.
Mm-hmm. Hey, T, I know one thing. I know you talked about Devin Booker and you were upset a little bit that he didn't win a three-point contest, but good news is the All-Star next year is in Phoenix at home where he plays at for the Phoenix Suns. So who knows? Maybe he may put on a show for the world for three-point contest and bring it home, because I'm trying to get there next year. I'm like, Phoenix is nice. Weather out there is amazing. I mean, it's a vibe out there.
We're stuck in the
cold. Devin Booker never win the three-point shooting contest.
Well, when he's got Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, and Clay, I don't know. I don't know about that one, T. I'm just saying. I mean,
I
don't know. But we have NBA resuming on Thursday. Detroit is leading the East at 40-13. OKC is leading the West at 42-14. The second half push begins. Darrell, is there any teams out there in the East or the West that you look forward to seeing in the second half of the season that could make a surprise to everybody out there that's got them on the sleeper?
Well, you know what? I'm really worried. I'm anxious to see how who got dethroned Oklahoma City, not just in the NBA championship, but particularly West. I think the Spurs have a real good shot, and everybody's sleeping on the Denver Nuggets. As well. Everybody's sleeping on the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets with Cameron Johnson coming back is going to be pretty good. They're going to be a tough out as well. But it seems like San Antonio Spurs have OKC number right now as well. It's sort of like in the East. You talk about Detroit, and then you talk about the New York Knicks in the East. Well, I don't pay too much attention to regular season, me really, honestly. But you got to give the Detroit Pistons a lot of credit. It'd be interesting to see how they respond when they get to the playoffs. They showed that they're ready. It seemed like they're maturing as a team. And it seemed like, their early exit last season really was a motivation for them to get back there. So it'd be interesting to see how they respond in the playoff this time around, whether they play New York or somebody else as well. Then you look at the Cavaliers adding Harden, which is going to be very interesting to see. They had actually won, I think, 10 out of 11 before Harden got there, or 8 out of 9 before he got there.
I think 8 out of 9 or 9 out of 10, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that before he got there. So it's going to be interesting to see how he meshed with them. I think, as you know, James Harden is not a playoff guy. His career speaks to that in regards to his performance.
No call, no show.
But it could be a different story this time around. This would be his last hurrah, really trying to get into that situation, trying to get to an NBA final, as well. And then the surprise team, actually, that people are not really talking about, actually is the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns are doing very well, even though they don't have Jalen Green and Devin Booker is out, but they're playing really solid basketball, as well. Of course, then you got the Rockets out in the West.
He's sleeping on Houston, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got Rockets out in the West. I don't think they have enough firepower to beat San Antonio or Oklahoma City, but you never know. Depending on matchups. Matchups will make the playoffs. Matches is going to be very interesting to see what happens as well. And then in the East, people talk about Tatum coming back to Boston. Boston is probably the most surprising team in the NBA right now in terms of where they at. And thank God Mazzulla has matured as a coach. If he'd had this team, it may be a second year, I don't think they'd be as good as they are now. He's really grown as a coach and really, really have implemented a system and found some young guys who really want to buy into what he's doing as well. It's going to be interesting to see if Tatum comes back. But if I'm Boston, I'll hold him out and wait till next year and just ride him out and see what they can do, as well.
Brian, let me ask you this, because you're wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. Prior to the All-Star break, Chicago Bulls had lost their last 6. They're currently sitting in 11th in the East at 24-31. Is it safe to say, can you answer this real quick, yes or no, will the Bulls make the playoff? Well, I can't even say make the playoffs. Will they make the play-in? Will they make the play-in?
He's fired.
They just gave him an extension.
I don't care. They need to fire him tomorrow.
Why? You don't have confidence in Billy Donovan?
Billy Donovan hasn't done anything since he started there. He's been mediocre for 5-6 years now, and it makes no sense to have a long tenure. His tenure is longer than someone who's been a winning coach.
That's also true.
It makes no sense. I'm like, what are we doing? You're sitting there, you made some trades and you still ask. It's like, yo, what? It's got to be an answer here. It's either the coaches or it's the players.
What about the front office?
No, it's either the coaches or the players, because the coaches in that system, they make the decisions. I mean, what are we doing? And I'm sitting here looking at it, and I watch it, and I can't even hardly watch it anymore because it's just terrible.
What makes it right? That's true. What makes it difficult with the Chicago Bulls, and you're right, Billy Donovan has probably got a longer leash than a lot of people. But you take the Detroit Pistons. You take it to Detroit Pistons, who actually surpassed Chicago Bulls, and Donovan has been in that seat longer than Bickerstaff been in this seat, particularly as well. Even with the swapping of trades and swapping players and all that stuff, is I think what you say, Coach B, is probably correct. I think it's time for possibly to look at a change within that organization. Ultimately,
you have to.
Ultimately, but if you got teams like, even take Boston losing all their players, having a much better year than the Chicago Bulls, speaks in volumes for what they're not doing. I think he has underachieved, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they do in the offseason with him.
Because he doesn't use his players correctly. It's just like you read right there in games. You started off the season at what was he like? 9-1.
They got up to a hot start, like 10-0,
hot start,
10-1,
and then next thing you know, he just fell off the face of the earth. Like
they got hit with some injuries.
They did. And Chicago's got a chance to do it right. They got a chance to do it right because they made some good trades before the All-Star break. I thought bringing in Jaden Ivey was a good addition in terms of the backcourt play for Chicago. We know he's been an asset for the Detroit Pistons in the last few years. I thought also having Colin Sexton, a healthy Colin Sexton, is good for the Chicago Bulls. And they have an opportunity, I should say, to at least make the play-in. Now, will that happen to be determined? But you can't sit here and as a Chicago Bulls fan, I can't relate because you guys are trash, how you can tolerate Billy Donovan this long. I mean, I wouldn't even call a Chicago Bulls a rebuild, because if you even looking at Monty Williams in Detroit, giving them all that money, it didn't work out, but then they were able to make a push before bringing in J.D. Bickerstaff. Chicago somehow has to figure this out in the second half of the season. I'm not sure what that looks like, but you got some pieces. Josh Giddey from OKC, that's a solid piece. Zach Collins, another solid piece. He can stretch three, can stretch floor, can rebound. Bryant, your Bulls got to make a plan, brother. Because if Billy Donovan make the playoffs again, you paying them all that money to come back again next year to be in the same situation.
It's like this. Look, man, you can't make these guys play hard during the regular season. They only play hard in the playoffs, but you got to get to the goddamn playoffs. Yeah, it's just what it is. I mean, and these guys are just floating and collecting a check. You should have heard what I heard about Carlo Boozer. I think 1 year he got like over 40 or 50 million because they had to get rid of money. That just makes no sense. The organization now, that's front office shit. They are not using their money well enough in order to acquire great players. They just get players just so you can sit there and just have regular season games and be mediocre. I am not a fan of mediocre. I can't stand that shit.
Who want to be at that? Who wants to be?
But you know what? Is you look at it this way, Brian. I really think sometimes guys not ready for the pro level to be a coach. Sometimes you're a good college coach, and I think Donovan is a great college coach. I don't think he's a great pro coach. Here's why. You look at Mazzulla, how he has matured and grown as a coach. Even this year, he's really showing that how much he's grown as a coach compared to Donovan. You talking about Donovan is a much more experienced coach than him, but it seemed like Mazzulla at the pro level has passed him because he's getting the max out of players. Basically Boston has a lot of G League guys playing right now.
Yeah,
seriously, they have a lot of G League guys playing in their rotation, and he's getting them to play defense, go hard all the time. And Donovan is not getting that out of his players as well. So you got to look at that and say, hey, is he relatable to the players, or is he not is he maxed out at this level, and maybe it's time for him to move on and bring somebody else in there, like maybe Sam Cassell or somebody else that needs.
Oh man, somebody. Sam
I
Cassell,
think he's maxed out. He's maxed out because he done proved it already. He's just maxed out.
I just don't think he's a good college coach like Calipari wasn't a good NBA coach. Like Rick Pitino wasn't a good NBA coach. I think you're a good college coach, as well. And sometimes it's not that you're not a good coach, but that's not the level you able to relate to the players and all that kind of stuff with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, look, we had Coach Hallberg, who used to be the coach of the Bulls, transition now. He's got a great Nebraska team who almost, was able to beat Michigan but wound up losing by 3. You just have to know, as an organization, you have to know if this is working or not, right? It clearly isn't working for the Bulls. Clean house, bring in some new energy, bring in a new system, and build from the ground up, because the Billy Donovan experience in Chicago has not worked out. It has been a complete failure, and I'm sorry for your loss.
And what's the telling point again with Bickerstaff coming to the Pistons, surpassing them the last couple of years, and then you look at what Mazzulla is doing in Boston with a depleted roster, got rid of all those guys, and they're really playing well. You have to look at that as well. If I'm a Chicago organization, I'll be looking to say, hey, maybe this is not a right fit, or it's time to move on to something else as well. But I don't think they're going to make the play-in anyway. I just don't think so.
Definitely not.
I agree.
Let's change gears as we go into our next talking point. And I know let's talk about mental health, because I know Brian's mental health has pretty much been on edge for the Chicago Bulls during the last 5 or 6 years or so. But having a professional athlete here who's had 2 tours, both in Portugal and also in Mexico. Shout out to my Portuguese. Love y'all. Shout out to my Mexicanos. Even though I'm not Mexican, don't get it confused. I'm half black, half Puerto Rican, but I'm a black man. T, let's talk about you for a minute, because you've been on an inclusive journey from leg injuries that you were able to overcome while playing collegiate basketball, but then transitioning to pretty much achieve a goal, I should say, for you, and that's playing professional basketball at the next level overseas in 2 tours. Share your perspective from your experience, because I feel as though today a lot of people don't understand the mental side of it, or in terms of being a professional athlete and navigating, traveling to a different country, battling the politics of basketball overseas, overcoming so many mental hurdles. Share with us a little bit about what your mental health journey was, and your message on how important it is to other athletes out there.
Okay. Personally, my mental health journey, I took it at first, as an athlete, when you're first coming into college, you kind of just, you want to get on the court, you want to do what you need to do for people to play you want to fit in, and you kind of put your mental health on the back burner. So growing, and, I did transfer universities after my first 2 years. I was at a different college. So being a transfer, mental health really became a big thing on my mental, just knowing, when to reflect, learning to, take time to rest, take time to ask for help, knowing that you need to pick a university or an organization that, shows that you're bigger than the sport you play, that you're not just an athlete, but you're a person as well. Because a lot of, people who don't play sports, they don't take into question like what we go through with identity pressures, injuries, going through, your stability, your back end, like, if you have family at the games, if you're going far to play for school and all that things, so these people, they just expect you to, come out. They want you to win games for them. You're identified as an athlete before you're identified as a person a lot of the times. So to be able to be part of a school, or an organization that's like, I'll take time to help you, I want to make sure you're okay. Mental health here is important, to be able to take, a mental day and not be punished for it from practice, or, things like that is very important. My first year transferring, I did, sorry about that.
You good?
My first year transferring to Fairmont State, I felt like I was on a roll. Like, I felt like I was playing some of the best basketball I played in a long time. I was in a new environment. I was very excited because the place that I came from, I was struggling very bad with my mental health. So to come in and, be in a family unit and know that I'm just hooping, I'm here to hoop, I'm loving the game again. And then breaking my leg, it was like very traumatic to me. Before that injury happened to me, I never got injured in my life, like nothing serious anyhow. So when that happened to me, it kind of, you know, brought me back from 100 back to kind of like a 0, because I'm like, wow, you know, I'm in this new environment. I'm surrounded by something that's, you know, uplifted me, help me know that I'm more than just an athlete. You know, I'm a person here. I'm valued for more than what I can provide, you know, on the court and things like that. So it kind of took me back. But in that sense, I was saved by my village. You know, I was surrounded by teammates, friends, by coaches, family that, you know, were more so worried about me than worried about when I was able to come back. So, you know, some days I would go into therapy and I would just break down crying, like, you know, I can't make it. I can't, like there's no way that this happened to me, you know. But then, you know, I took time to reflect, like, you know, maybe there is a purpose in this. Maybe I had to slow down, you know, and realize, like, okay, like this doesn't define you. The sport that you play doesn't define you. There's different ways that can get you here. If you can get out of this, you know, you can go anywhere. You can succeed if you can get yourself out of this hole, because at the end of the day, you know, you're the only person that really has to suffer from what you're going through. And a lot of people suffer in silence. A lot of people don't know, but like the statistics is like suicide for athletes, and we're talking just college athletes. This is not professional. International is like the second leading cause of death in athletes. Between like 2002, 2022, I think it was like 128 suicide deaths for NCAA athletes, and that's like 6 to 7 deaths a year. So like it's really hard as an athlete. So just having a gate to open up with and a way to go, you know, people to talk to, and out of that number, 77% of those were male athletes. So it's like just not even for women, but for men too. It's very hard to speak up.
Hey, look. Hey, look. Look. I think now where I'm at, I am in my mental health journey. I prioritize mental health bar like number one, right? Because there's so many different obstacles, so many different struggles that you're going through, mental wars within your head, like yourself. Yeah. Some could say insecurities. Some could say a lack of mental strength. I mean, there's so many things. So I just try and advocate to, like, if you have someone to talk to, release it, right? Because you can't have all that stuff bottled up inside of you physically, like, because you get to your point where, you know, where we talk about triggers and you get triggered and all hell breaks loose. But for you, going through that phase of having that season-ending knee injury, your first injury in your young professional career, and then having to mentally overcome that to get back to where you are now, take us through what that was like for you from the time that this injury happened and then going through that struggle to overcome those obstacles to get to where you are now, and that's being able to talk about it. Yeah.
So I actually broke my leg. I broke my fibula and my tibia and a bone in my foot. So now I got to plate 2 screws in there, so it's holding strong. Hopefully.
Oh no.
But yeah, like when it first happened, like I said, I was really down bad. But in my mind, like I said, I was at a new place, and, you know, I just couldn't let something like this stop my journey. You know, I got here, I'm here for a reason, you know, I have to keep pushing. So, you know, more so of myself, it was to take it upon myself to let people know, you know, that I needed help, that, you know, sometimes when I was really struggling, that I couldn't do it alone. At the time that this happened, a couple months, I broke my leg in September 2019. So a couple months following that, COVID happened. So, you know, everyone got sent home. So in that part of my journey, it was on me, you know, to continue to, you know, rehab myself and get my mental back and get myself into it. And shortly after that, I learned that my injury, you know, could have been a career-ending injury. The doctors didn't know if I would ever play again. And so through my process, after, you know, building myself up, I went home and I worked every day, you know, whether it was by myself, whether I had to go outside, you know, just had to keep in my mind, you know, you're here, you can do it. Like, you're made for this. Like, you can't let this define you. So, you know, in my mindset, I didn't want that to be what defined me, my injury. I didn't want that to end my story. You know, I wanted something to prevail, something for the people who may go through this, or like younger kids who look up to me, to know, like, you know, you can continue, you can keep going. So through COVID, you know, I ended up, you know, working out all the time. You know, I got trainers to work out with, continued to go to, you know, therapy, continued to talk to people, just to build myself up, continued to, you know, just encourage myself alone. Encouragement to yourself takes you far. Like, you know, just letting you know that your milestones and somebody else's milestones can be completely different. That doesn't mean that you're any less successful. You know, that doesn't mean, you know, there's too much comparison now in the world of like, I should be this when, like, you know, your story and someone else's story is completely different. So,
completely different.
You know, just building myself up. And then, you know, once I got to playing again, I was very scared. I favored my leg a lot, you know, but then I said to myself, you know, if you think that you're going to get injured and you keep, you know, babying yourself for when you're not going to get any better. Yeah. And then you're just going to risk hurting yourself again. So, you know, I prevailed through that, you know, got through that. Then, you know, I just started hooping again. You know, I was just like, you know, I'm here. You can't go back in time. You can't get this time back. You know, you were blessed to be able to get 2 extra years. So, you know, do what you will with it. Like, that's it. Nobody can have sympathy for you after you're healed and you're walking and you're back to digging. The past is the past, so you just got to work. So, you know, so I built myself back up. You know, I worked till I could, you know, do everything that I thought I could do before, you know, 10 times better. Got back, you know, got back rotation with my team. You know, my last season, we had our best record that we had since we've been there. So, you know, in the midst of that, my last season is when, you know, agents and stuff started kind of putting in my mind that, you know, you can go overseas. Like, you know, I work with you. This is something that's capable. So only in my mind now, I'm thinking, you know, I just got to get there. This is something that people dream about every day, you know, whether it's WNBA, going overseas, you know, just playing at any higher level. That's something that you dream about as a kid. So in my mind, I'm like, I already have to prevail to show one that, you know, you don't have to be Division I to be able to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? There's hoopers at every level, every state, anywhere. Like, you can do it. And to know that, you know, injuries don't stop you from anything. So, you know, after my season, I got connected with an agent. You know, he was like, you know, I can get you these places. You just got to work. Like, you work, you do the numbers, you get there, and, you know, it goes from there. You write your own story. So that, you know, got me overseas. When I was overseas, I learned a lot about, you know, independence. It made me grow in independence. You know, it made me learn a lot of sacrifice. It made me become a greater leader. So going overseas, it really helped me a lot. And then mentally over there, you really got to lock in because, you know, here you got family, you got friends, and then you go to a whole environment where,
by yourself.
Yeah, where you're the only person speaking English. Like, you want to talk to somebody, you got to walk around with a translator. Like, so yeah, it was definitely different. But, you know, my injury and, you know, knowing that it's okay to ask for help, you know, through my college days helped me be able to become the leader and, you know, help people today, speak up for people today that may need it. So,
hey, listen, let's give this Black Queen some love. Listen, you are enough. You are worthy. You are destined for greatness. It is already written. It's already instilled in you. You talk about moving. I mean, look, let me just compare and contrast real quick, right? The worst injury I've had, I broke my pinky in 3 places. And I got the needle injection, numb my hand. That was the worst, right? Fast forward, you talk about being in another country by yourself. Try living in Rhode Island for a year by yourself. You talk about mental wars. I mean, I thought I was gonna kill myself. And Bryant warned me. He said, "Yo, man, that place is."
Hold up, I'm gonna take a second. I gotta move locations really quick. The location I'm in is closing.
Fast forward.
I'm gonna tell you, he broke his pinky from doing a homework assignment.
No, I broke my pinky from playing throw-up football in the big field behind the projects, and I stiff-armed this guy, and my 4 fingers went to his face, but then my pinky went in his mouth while stiff-arming him. I had a glove on, and I look after the play, and my pinky was like way over there, and I'm like, that look right to y'all, and then like, oh no, we got to go. The adrenaline kicked in and whatever. So it's always good to hear perspective in terms of other people's journeys because mental health is really, really important. I think mental health, it challenges us in some form or fashion. I know, Brian, from having that Oklahoma experience and then moving away from Chicago from your mom, then trying to find your way back and then going to Temple, closer to home in a sense. Darrell, the same thing for you. We've all, I'm sure, had our mental health challenges, I should say, but I wanted to be an advocate to make sure to at least have that conversation to talk about it. So, Brian and Darrell, if you guys got anything to add from your mental health journey and something you could share to pretty much help inspire others that may have mental health challenges.
Go ahead, Darrell. You can.
No. You go ahead. I'll just say this. I have a sports management company, as you know, and I deal with a lot of retired pro athletes that I deal with. And a lot of times, and most of the time, I deal with their mental health challenges, their transitioning, how they coping with being in civilian life and all that stuff. So it's difficult for some of these athletes transitioning, as well. It's difficult for anybody who's having mental health challenges. I think, given living in the world today, we all have mental health challenges every day. Yeah, some of us stay in it longer than others. Some of them get past it quickly. But we all have challenges regardless of our economic status, social status, titles, and all that kind of stuff. Everybody has mental health challenges on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's missing out there with mental health, and mental health of an athlete, with all the pressures of putting on them, taking care of a family, because they think that everyone is going to be an NFL player or NBA player or Major League Baseball player. And, especially when you're coming from a poor sector, coming from the inner city projects, like most of us have, with myself coming from a very ill mother, and, a father's alcoholic. So now it's either I follow that trend or work my ass off to get away from that and to come back and try to help my mom as best as possible. So those type of mental health issues were not easy. That was a point in time when I was in Oklahoma, just putting a little bit out there. And it's gonna be part of my book that I was drinking so much as a freshman in college that I was drinking a whole case of Budweiser and wasn't feeling a damn thing. So it got out of hand my freshman year, and hell, I was basically a drunk at that point. So I had to do some things, some soul searching. But back in the '80s, we didn't have those things like they have today, as sports psychologists and whatever it may be. So we basically had each other. So we just had to talk to your teammates and your friends that kind of get you out of there. You got to kind of talk to yourself and do a lot of prayer to pull you through. And it wasn't easy, man. It was tough getting out of that. But I found a way. And just giving you the short version of it, it was a help of a lot of friends from Temple, and I wound up being on the good end of the stick, and helped out a lot of young men in college and in high school, and it's the reason why I'm the man I am today, because of those experiences. So mental health is huge.
Absolutely. T, we talked about, your challenges to overcome those struggles from a mental perspective. I know you've served 2 tours, but in a perfect world, if you can give us in the perfect world, because I know you're still 50-50 in terms of if you return back to playing basketball at the high level that you once played at, but what would be the perfect situation for you to make your return to the court and do what you love to do?
So right now, the knowledge that I lacked in the beginning was the importance of, your agent, who they are, what they care for, what they stand on. So for me right now, my struggle of deciding is, the decision on my agent, choosing a good agent, because through my 2 tours of going overseas, I went through different agents, and growing to realize, and being in those perspectives, I realized, a lot of agents will just, when you first are coming out of college, they'll come to you to get you because they want their selves to look good. They want to show that they have a lot of athletes, instead of being an agent that's I care for you. Like, I'm taking someone's child and I'm, putting their life in my hands, basically. I'm sending them to a country they've never been, with living arrangements, and all these other things that you have to decide and go through. So going through that, and just being in that process of experiencing bad agents, just in this time, I know my worth. So back then it's kind of I want to go where I'm wanted. I want to go where somebody can get me. I'm eager to be a professional. These people want me, so I figure that they're going to place me somewhere good, that they're going to get me all the things that I need, things like that. So this go around, I know my worth. I have statistics, playing professional basketball now, that that I can vouch for myself. I know what it's like to be in different countries, not just one, but, you know, two, and work with different agents. So also, you know, talking to agents that show you, you know, like, okay, like, you know, it's bigger than the money for me. You know, I used to be an athlete, or, you know, I just want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure you're comfortable. And when you get where you're going, like, instead of, you know, leaving you high and dry, that, you know, I'm here for you as a communication line, you know, seeing that you're thousands of miles away from your family, you know, I'm going to make sure that you eat. I'm going to make sure you get paid on time. So stuff like that. So more so, you know, just going somewhere, feeling comfortable, feeling safe, you know, knowing that, you know, if anything was to happen with the club that I play for, that, you know, I have an agent that will have my back, that, you know, will be able to place me somewhere safely and, you know, just work with me. So that's really what I'm searching for as of now, that kind of has me on the bar.
From your words to God's ears, Bryant, I the power of this, I think we might be able to bridge the gap and help you get to where you're trying to go. I think that's a possibility. Brian, would you say that might be a possibility?
It's possible. It's definitely.
It's very, very possible. Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
God works, man. All
mysterious ways and mysterious. Hey, look, his timing is better than anybody's timing.
Yes,
trust
sir.
me. Listen, trust me when I tell you, his timing is better than anybody. I learned that real hard and real fast. And that's story. I can do an episode of my Rhode Island experience alone. But we're gonna say that for another day. You talk about mental health. I had what I had, Brian? I had two panic. Is it panic attacks? Two anxiety attacks. Rushed to the hospital. Had 189 BPM. See a psychiatrist. I had to see a cardiologist. I thought I was going to die in Rhode Island. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Parachuted out of there. Darrell, let's switch gears and go to you. You've been a basketball head coach and once upon a time in your career, successful basketball coach, winning on the highest level from a collegiate perspective. But you've transitioned now to be a contributor as a broadcaster as well as an analyst. What was that transition phase for you, being a player, playing two sports? As you said, they don't make it like that no more. Playing two sports, but then going to be on the sidelines, coaching different players, building young men to turn them into men and preparing them for the next chapter of their lives, but then now being a broadcaster. What was that transition phase like for you?
Well, the transition was quite easily and seamless for me. You know, being a college head coach, of course, you're being in front of the camera all the time. It learns you how to speak and articulate and express yourself in a way in which people can understand and people will be able to know that you got transferable skills when you are finished in your profession as well. So I transitioned out of coaching actually to take care of my dad, who had Alzheimer and dementia. I decided to step away, and at that particular time, wasn't even thinking about broadcasting. And I got into broadcasting in a mysterious way. Now, growing up, watching the New York Knicks, I would imitate Marv Albert and all those guys and go outside and joke around with my friends. And when you get them in the group, they say, oh, man, you crazy, you're corny. But when I got them individually, they say, you're pretty good at this stuff. So to make a long story short, after I left college coaching to take care of my dad, I coached the ABA team for a friend. And as long as I didn't have to be there every day, I was okay with that. So I decided to take the job in 2016, and we were very good. We actually made the Elite Eight of the ABA, and the ABA, that championship series was carried by ESPN3 and Sports Radio America. After we lost the first round, they interviewed me after the game, and I thought I was going to be able to leave. I was going to sit around and watch the next game, the semifinals game, and then catch my flight out the next day. Well, 10 minutes after I did my interview, they asked me, can I step in as an analyst? The analyst was sick, and I kind of knew he was sick based on the interview he had did with me probably 15 minutes prior. And I told him, yeah, I could step in, no problem, whatever the case may be. So after the first game, they asked me to stay for the second game. And I stayed for the second game and ended up staying through the whole championships for ESPN3 and Sports Radio America. Well, after that was over with, come back home, and a couple of months later, ESPN reached out to me and said, hey, would you mind doing Division I basketball games? We like how you really handled yourself doing the ABA championship with your notes and all that stuff. I said, I didn't have any notes. I just did everything off the top of my head. So that impressed them even more as well. So they gave me an assignment that following year to do Division I college basketball games on ESPN, as well as NEC Front Row Network, which I started out with FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson University. Of course, graduating up to ESPN with St. Peter's, then ultimately going national around the country with ESPN, and then getting on with CBS Sports, as well as now with NBA TV, as well as the FanDuel network as well. So my progression into it was seamless. My transferable skills allowed me to be able to go into broadcasting. And of course, it's something that I knew all about, which is basketball. So it made it quite easy for me to do that as well.
Hey Darrell, tell this young man again and repeat that sector one more time. You did a game without what? Any notes?
Notes. Yeah. Well, I just
right.
happened. I just so happened it was a last minute call. It just so happened that a lot of players who was playing. I'm a former college coach, so a lot of the guys playing in the ABA, either I knew of them, or knew their coaches. So it's easy for me to talk about them as well. But I need a lot of notes sometimes now that I'm broadcasting, because a lot of games we'll talk about my preparation for games. Yeah, I need more notes now than I ever did even as a college head coach. But being able to get some things off the dome and being able to express myself, being able to call a game without any notes, I was very lucky in those situations. And it just happened to be God must have been on my side to impress the audience and impress the producers.
Right. So when you were sitting there, and it's so easy to do it without the notes that you don't need as many notes.
Oh my God, Bryant, you failed.
I'm talking to the coach. I'm talking to the coach.
Brian, let me say that, it's because, you need notes, particularly when I'm
Thank you. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. You need what?
In my preparation for games,
need notes.
It takes a week sometimes to prepare for games.
Yeah.
Getting the notes, getting the analytics,
breaking down tape.
Interns to break down tapes. I'm watching film like I'm a college coach, talking to players, talking to coaches, talking to SIDs, talking with my play-by-play partner, talking with our production team, making sure we're on point.
Man.
Yeah, it requires a lot of notes. And then we talk about analytics and stats. And here's the thing about it, Brian, if you don't know, we create so many notes that I only probably use maybe 10% of them, depending on how the game is going.
That's my point right there.
Depending on how the game is going as well. If it's a blowout,
right,
something like that, then we got to have talking points. And now we really dig into our notes that we have as well.
Right.
But most of the time we use maybe 10 to 15% of the notes. If you ever watch me call a game, I'm basically talking about a lot of analytics, a lot of stats. And I have some what I do call the dial downs around the country that's been very, very popular, where I give 3 breakdowns of the team's strengths and weaknesses in order for them to how they're going to play. And if they want to win this game, they're going to have to do that as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about the big matchup this weekend between Duke and Michigan.
Woo! I can't wait for that. Don't get me too hyped up. We talk about Duke and Michigan, but I've been a fan of the Unrivaled League, being in year 2 with, of course, Nafisa Collier being the co-CEO of the whole league. It's funny how it generates more money in the Unrivaled League than it does in the WNBA. More players that play in the Unrivaled League make more during that tenure than what they make during the WNBA season. And I know right now we have negotiations going on between the WNBA and, of course, the league's office with Kathy, the commissioner, and I just can't figure this out. But Unrivaled has been kicking ass and taking names in year 2. I've been impressed with it. We know the Laces are leading the league at 9-2. Yeah, I know I'm a Jackie Young fan, so my girl Jackie's out there doing what she's supposed to do after winning a WNBA championship with the Las Vegas Aces. Right now, the playoffs are getting ready to tip off in March. We know the semifinals is coming to Barclays in a few weeks. But T, I want to talk to you about this league because Jackie's my girl, so I'm rooting for the Laces every single game they play. They top the league in 9-2. But who are some of your favorite players as well as some of your favorite teams that you love to watch during your rival league, and what's impressed you most?
Right now, I'm really a fan of the Breeze. Just because they have a young core, like they're fun. Watching Paige play, go to work.
Love Paige. That's Brian's favorite player.
She's killing. She's having her way. Dominique as well. Watching her, be able to dunk, do things like that. They're not the best, but they're fun to watch. It's fun to be able to watch them work, as well as just their team is cool. They have Kate Martin, they have Courtney Williams. So they got a little bit of vet on their team. But they're cool. So I really like them. I think more so because of Paige. She's working the numbers. She's able to put out I think she's third in scoring, first in assists. So coming as a rookie, that's a lot. Playing against vets, playing against, other strong contender teams. Laces are cool, but I think the Phantom can give them a run. They can give them a run for their money. They're strong.
I mean, Phantom's at 8-3, rightfully so. I think they can. But listen, we know Unrivaled League. This league is about guard play. All right, this is not about big play. That's why Angel Reese somewhat hasn't been successful in the Unrivaled League journey. It's about guard play. We've seen it from Paige. We've seen it from Jackie Young. And look, I'm just saying. I mean, who guarding Jackie? I'm just saying, who's guarding Jackie? Who's guarding Jackie?
They're tough. It's good. I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah. And I'm glad to see that, it's expanding. So, women's sports is getting a little more recognition. Like you said, they're able to make money without, having to send multiple of their players overseas. So that kind of helps, for their body, things like that. They went from having 6 teams last year to 8 this year. So just in a year span, able to add 2 more teams. I think it's bringing a little fun to the game as well. Like you said, they when they go into competition time and they're having, these 1v1s and such like that. So I think it's really fun to watch. It's bringing a little life, to the women's game, bringing more viewership, things like that. Also opportunities and, like you said, money run. So a lot of these women are making a lot more money in this season. So I'm excited for it. I think that it was a very good move. And, I think it's really going to keep kicking off and growing in the future. So.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think also this helps the players sort of get keep their condition in good standing. We know ideally the WNBA season would tip off in May, but with these negotiations, who the hell knows if the WNBA will be on time. I mean, Bryant, your girl Paige is third in the league in scoring, average over 25 points a game. Kelsey Plum with averaging 22. Aaliyah Edwards in fifth. Chelsea Gray, of course, winning the one-on-one tournament, leading the league in scoring at 25 a game with 6 assists. But listen, it all comes down to team play, and I just think that Breeze is a sleeper. Don't get me wrong, but until someone beat the Laces, Jackie Young, let's ride. So you'll be able to catch Unrivaled League on TNT. And I want to give a special shout out to our guest that's coming on next week. Sorry to break the news early, but our girl Ice Young, who's been doing magnificent sideline coverage work for the Unrivaled League, as well as being on the broadcasting team as a color analyst, along with Sarah Kuchstoff. She will be on here next week for the Rewind, so we'll get to break down the Unrivaled League even more, but having more of a professional perspective of her being right there on the sideline. So look forward to that. Now, normally we would have this segment called Unrivaled, Unfiltered, where Bryant pretty much goes on his wild rant. But on this week's edition, we will change it in a little bit because of the climate of where we currently are. We talked about it earlier in the show. We want to send first of our condolences to Mrs. Johnson, the wife of former All-Pro guard Trey Johnson, who passed away this past week. Last week, I'm sorry, going into this week. If you didn't know, he was drafted in the second round in the 1990 for draft, played 93 games in his career, started 72 of them, played for the Washington Redskins from 1994 to 2000, then playing for the Cleveland Browns in 2001, then returning back to the Redskins in 2002. He was a Pro Bowler in 1999 and also was an All-Pro in the same year. He was our first pro athlete that we had on the Rewind, and it was episode 4. We're having Brent, that was another one of Bryant's close friends up in Philly, TU. But Bryant and Trey also went to Temple together. And Philip Cox, a former guest that we had a few episodes ago for the Super Bowl, played with Trey as well. So I can't express or even fathom the mindset or what Trey Johnson's wife has gone through. He did have 4 beautiful children. But the Washington Commanders came out with a nice press release for Trey. And listen, it's always tough to lose an NFL great. And Trey overcame the challenges, overcame the obstacles, and earned his way in the league, being one of the toughest offensive guards at that particular time in the league, and got multiple respect from his former players that he played with, by his coaches, as well as opposing players throughout, not also the NFC East, but throughout the entire National Football League. Brian, I know Trey was very close to you. You guys played together. You guys from Temple. That TU blood runs deeper than ever. What was your initial reaction from hearing the news of Trey Johnson's passing?
It was one of the toughest moments in my lifetime, especially when we had him on the show a year ago from last week. And we're playing right next to Trey. He was the right tackle at that time, and I was playing tight end and played with him all those years. Um, he was one of those guys that really motivated me to play harder during my time there because I was very small, but he got me in the weight room the whole nine, and we had some great times during the summer, and I was cooking, and this is just a tough pill to swallow, and it just really hasn't hit me yet because in my mind he's still here. I haven't gone through that process of him not being here yet, and I think about Elijah Oleani that we lost last year or a year and a half ago. This is a young kid that's 25, 26 years old, and then with Temple we lost three athletes within the last 4 months. One is Swift Birch, and then Marcus Gibbs, and now Trey. We all played on the same team, and that's an eye opener for all of us that's in our 50s, and we basically have to take care of ourselves like now. We should have been doing it years ago, and that's something that they don't teach athletes what to do when the game is done. And with myself and with everything that's going on with Dr. J, that mental transition once you're done is a bitch. It's hard to get through. I went through it. It was like a brick wall hitting you in the face of now it's like what you're going to do. And I was blessed by God because he was guiding me on what to do. So I didn't have it for long. I had it for like about 2 or 3 months. And slowly it got me into coaching, and in my career path, I was being guided because God knew that, my mother needed me, so I needed something to do. So I kind of found my way, and that's how I'm here. Most of the guys don't have that. And they transition to something that is good, and some of them transition to bad. But health and fitness is something that's ignored once all athletes are done, and you see the weight gain that happens within us and whatever we did while we were playing and so on, man. And we become unhealthy at the age of 35, not 50. It doesn't start then. It starts in like our 30s. So from 30 all the way on to in our 50s, where most athletes, especially NFL football players, they pass away at the average age of 58. It's just not a good thing, and it's something that we have to basically take a strong look at. We're dealing with CTE and so on and so on. So this blow, it's heavy, and the funeral is March 5th up in Upper Marlboro in Maryland. I will be there. Just got to leave early, 6 o'clock in the morning to get there. So it's something that I have to do, and I have to get there for support my teammates because we all will be there. And it's just a tough week for me.
I really don't know what really much to say. I should say I'm very fortunate that Trey gave, I guess, me the opportunity to pretty much want to come on a platform like this. Trey hadn't been on any platforms previously. He was really private in terms of just his lifestyle with his wife and his children, still being an educator and teaching American history, Black American history at that, I believe. But he gave me an opportunity. He came on. He had a great time. It was right before the Commanders playoff game on the road into Detroit. And it was a great episode. We had a great time. I enjoyed Trey's presence. I enjoyed his knowledge of the game and his breakdown of what made sense from a analytical standpoint prior to the start of that playoff game. The Commanders wind up winning in Detroit, which Bryant was really shocked with Jaden Daniels' play at that particular time. But I'm forever grateful for Trey to bless me and his platform with his presence and to have that professional mindset and knowledge on display was something that I'm truly grateful for and forever. So I want to, on behalf of everyone here at GSC3, the whole crew, we want to send our prayers and condolences to Trey Johnson's family, his beautiful 4 children, and his wife, as the Washington Commanders football family continues to mourn over his loss and his transition. But Trey, thank you for all you've done for Temple. Thank you for all you've done for the National Football League as well as the Washington Redskins at particular time. Joe Gibbs, what a draft pick right there. And hoping your legacy remains to live on forever through your 4 children, your wife, and as well as us here on the Rewind, the blessings with your presence. So thank you for all you've done. And we'll see you soon. I know I will. Maybe another 70 years from now. Who knows? I want to live to be 109. Don't ask me why, but that's my goal. But Trey, thank you, man. I love you. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you soon. Transitioning to the Rewind of the week, this week's edition. I am not sure how Darrell and Jay will react to what I have to say, but Chris, for the people out there that's a little bit sorrow and down and upset, let's pick up the energy. Let's get back to where we were. It's time for episode 52's edition of Rewind of the Week. Yeah, it's time. On this week's edition of the Rewind of the Week, we break down the women's basketball. It's about that time. We've talked about the NFL long enough, and although my Patriots lost to the Super Bowl, we ain't going to talk about that right now. We'll see you in 7 months. Shut the hell up, Bryant. We ain't talking to you right now. We go down to the women's top 5, including Michaela Blake's, who's New Jersey's own. Her brother went to Duke. He's from Blair Academy, and he's currently at Stanford. But Michaela being one of the best scorers, if not the best scorer in the game today, averaging over 26 points per game, leading the country in scoring. Currently, Vanderbilt is number 5 in the country. And then my girl, Hannah Adobo, Notre Dame's finest. And I'm upset that Olivia Miles is not here for this. She's ranked 3rd in the country, averaging over 24 points a game. If you did not know, Hannah currently is on pace to become the first player in NCAA Division I history to reach 2,000-plus points, 700-plus career rebounds, 600 assists, 600 steals. By the end of her remarkable career, she's played in 91 career games in January. We're in February, of course. And she became the fastest player in ACC history to reach 2,000 points in 86, in fact. Now, listen. We know UConn's at number 1 at 27-0, UCLA at 25-1, South Carolina at 3 at 25-2, Texas, don't sleep on them, at 24-3, Vanderbilt 24-3, Michigan 22-4, as well as LSU at 22-4. This year's women's college basketball, it can go either way. I know we've seen the top UConn, everyone's got them to repeat. I just think watching UConn play this year in person at Seton Hall, I mean, they have literally three lottery picks. I don't think anyone can beat UConn right now. I know March is going to be a wonderful thing to see with the bracket challenge coming up that we'll be able to break down for you guys here on the Rewind. Now, let me tell you something. UConn will be in the Final Four. I don't see any team giving them hell on their way from the second round to the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. They will be in the Final Four. UCLA, I'm still not sure on them just yet. I know we was at this point last year when UCLA was a good team, and they wound up losing in the Elite 8. South Carolina will be in the Final Four once again. Texas, this is their year. I think they overcome the obstacles. They have a really good team right now with Madison Brooks. Anytime a player like Madison Brooks having the year that she's having, chances are you're going to get back to where you were last year, and that's the Final Four. Vanderbilt, I'm not really too big on them yet. They do have the guard play, but the deeper you get into the tournament, the experience play matters. You do not have the NCAA tournament experience. Bryant knows, Darrell knows, being a coach, the experience portion is really important as you make that. And I just think Michigan at 22-4, as well as LSU, LSU's not having the year I thought they would have. They've struggled as of late, losing to South Carolina a few games ago. I'm sorry. That gave me the idea of I'm not sure if they have what it takes to make that turn in the season. Bryant knows, especially from the state championship teams, you got to be able to have that 4th, 5th, if not 6th gear to get to that point. I don't think they have it. But, Darrell, let's get your thoughts as well as T. Women's basketball, where do you guys have confidence in? Are we going to have the same Final Four as last year? Do you kind of see some teams mix it up? I'm not sleeping on Texas. I have Texas in my Final Four. I know the bracket hasn't come out yet. Agree or disagree? Where do you guys see this year's tournament ending up? Darrell, T, Bryant. I mean,
Go ahead. I'll wait for T to go.
Go ahead, T. Lead the way. UConn's at 27-0. We know they have some star juggernaut power with Sarah Strong, with Ozzie Fudd. Do you see UConn repeating as national champions again and Gino winning another national championship, or do you see some team like UCLA or South Carolina or Texas breaking that up and ending their hopes of winning back-to-back?
I don't think that they'll win again. I'm branching for South Carolina. I'm just a really big fan of Dawn, so I'm branching for them to go. I think that in big times, I think her losses are a lot of lessons to her. I think that that she has very good control of her team. So does Gino, though, as well. They have a very disciplined team. I just think when it comes to aggression, that she's just winning me over in that area. A team that I'm very disappointed in, that I was very excited to see play this year, I would have to say is Tennessee, though. I look for them because their head coach. She used to coach in my conference, so it was excited to see her moving up and stuff. But they're suffering pretty bad. They have a good good players. They're just not combining.
What happened to your coach? The sportsmanship after losing.
Hey, man. The media is eating her up.
My God,
eating her up, man.
You gotta be kidding me.
I don't know. I pray something good comes to her. That they get it together, because right now her team is falling apart.
Hey, Bryant, what'd you say? Not happy?
She's not happy. She's just not happy. She just got her ass whooped, this past game. I mean, it was
taking bad L's.
Spanked. Spanked.
I mean, losing to Texas by 2, and then the lose Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. This is something that Monty don't understand, because my family. My family's from down Mississippi, so you've never been down there.
I have not.
I've been there. And let me tell you something. That's a border battle between Tennessee and Ole Miss. They're right by each other. Literally, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. That game is blood and water. It's just what it is. That's why that happened. Nobody understands that Ole Miss is in Oxford and Tennessee up there in Oxford. That's not that far. It's like 2.5 hours from each other. That's a bus ride. That's a car ride. Those two SEC teams. That's like Thomas Hearns and Mike Tyson. It's like they just hate each other. So when I say things, it's the same. Those SEC schools, I don't care if it's LSU, Bama, it's all the same. They can't stand each other.
Well, Ole Miss has a better program. I had a lot of high expectations for Tennessee and the SEC. I thought they would be right there in the pack with LSU and South Carolina. But again, it's a different environment now, and the women's game is growing yearly, which I love to see. And listen, Tennessee at 16-7, it's not a failure season, but I mean, if you lose a game as a coach, there's no reason at all. And you guys know, both Bryant and Dr. J, you guys both know, win, lose, or draw, you're going to shake the opposing coach's hand for a good game. Has there ever been a point in your careers, Dr. J, I'll start with you, and your head coaching career, where after a loss, you just didn't shake the opposing coach's hand, just walk right past? Has that ever happened in your career?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
It's happened in mine.
Yeah, even though you might have not liked the coach, whatever the case may be, but you extend sportsmanship and shake their hand and keep moving.
Thank you.
Hey, Dr. J. I gotta say this one. So back in 2019, when the game was over, and Phil Colicchio, right, walked past me, and you know how you shake hands? He gave me 2 fingers. He gave me 2 fingers, and like this.
Gotta talk to Phil about that, man. I'm glad you told me.
He gave me 2 fingers, and then he walked up to the bars and kissed him on the cheek like this.
We had Phil on. We ain't even talking about that. We didn't even talk about
I know we did, man. I wanted to bring it up so bad, but I forgot. But this is bringing it up right now. That was hilarious. I started dying laughing. And I said, "Take your ass home."
Well,
but in regards to the college basketball, so UConn by far is playing the best basketball unequivocally of anybody in the country. Of course, South Carolina is going to be there. UCLA, I'm iffy on them, just like you, Monty, even though they got one loss. Iffy on them. Vanderbilt is pretty good. But everything is about matchups when you get to the NCAA tournament as well. I like Texas. They're playing some good basketball. And then you got some other teams that's going to surprise some people, depending on the matchups as well. But right now, UConn looks like the best team, as you mentioned. They probably have 2 or 3 first-round draft picks for the WNBA draft as well. So they're playing your best basketball right now. But it'd be interesting to see how the matchups, who the number 1 seeds will be in the 4 regions, and then you go from there. The worst thing that happened to UConn if they play a team within their division, who possibly has seen them 2 or 3 times, and could possibly find a way to beat them as well. But every big game they play, they've been really playing some solid basketball. I like their chances as well right now.
I do too. And you know what else chances I like? We talked about these 2 matchups here on Saturday. I mean, look, you would thought this would have been March. You would thought this is we getting ready to play an Elite 8, or we getting ready to play a Final 4 game. But we get this matchup in February. Ain't God good. We break down Michigan versus Duke, number 1 versus soon to be number 2, with Houston losing earlier this week, 6:30 Eastern time on ESPN. But the matchup I really want to talk about first is Houston versus Arizona, 2 top 5 matchups right here in February, 3:00 Eastern time on ABC. Houston currently at 23-3, and Tommy Lloyd's Arizona Wildcats at 23-2. Listen, guard play is going to be exceptional here between these 2 teams. Kingston is averaging over 16 points a game for Houston. And look, don't sleep on Arizona. I think Tommy Lloyd has not gotten the recognition and credit that he deserves for what he's done with this Arizona program since taking over. We know NIL is a new name of the game, but listen, Arizona, they are a Final 4 team. They have all the ingredients on what it takes to get to an NCAA tournament as well as get to a Final 4. Darrell, you are excited to watch this game, but Bryant, I'll start with you. We get a Final 4 early matchup. These 2 teams could easily be there waiting for each other in March. Who do you like to win between Houston and Arizona? 2 good coaches matchups as well as a Big 12 clash.
Well, that's funny this has come up because I was speaking to Euron Hawkins about Arizona, and this is when they had 1 loss. And I told him specifically what Arizona's problem, and their bench is not great. If they get into foul trouble, they're going to have issues, and fatigue is starting to set in. So the last 2 games they lost, and he called me. He said, "Man, you called that." I said, "I know. I watched them, and if they're on, they can kill you. But if they have to come from behind, then they're going to fatigue out." And that's what happened in those last 2 games. If they're not a Michigan is loaded.
Oh,
They're loaded. But with Arizona, they're very limited. Houston, I think, is going to beat them because they just have 2 players more than what Arizona had, and I think Houston will wear them out eventually. But it depends on who has the fresher legs and who doesn't. And I think Houston, they will have the fresher legs.
Darrell, let's get your perspective on this because Coach Sampson has done a marvelous job for Houston. Of course, losing last year in the Final 4 against Florida, who Bryant picked to win. But this year, he's got the same team, if not a bit better, to make that same run to get back to where he lost at, and that's to a national championship game. Who do you like on Saturday between these 2 teams?
It's all about physicality. Houston is going to bring the physicality, have the depth as well, something that Brian mentioned that Arizona definitely lacks. They can't play uphill. They have to play out in the front. And it's just a matter of them trying to dictate tempo. And if Houston could get them into foul trouble, have to make them go deep in the bench. And everything is about guard play, as well. So I think Houston will win this game based on the physicality and will wear them down eventually with the defensive pressure.
Defensive pressure. I like Houston to win this. I think Houston just has a slighter edge in terms of the bench play. Kevin Sampson can get his guys going. No discredit to Tommy Lloyd, but if Arizona's in foul trouble, they don't go to the bench as often early. Tommy Lloyd normally, when watching Arizona, he goes to them a little later in the first half. So I'm curious to see what the guard play is. It's going to be a good matchup. I mean, these two guards can play at a high level. Flemington and Burn. I mean, look, they both averaging over 16 points a game. They're the motors for that offense. But this is going to be a good coaching matchup, chess game between these two. So give me Houston. T, who do you like between these two, Arizona or Houston?
I've only seen them play a handful of times. I haven't really watched much of college men's basketball, but the Houston games I have watched, I think that they have a hardcore. They're very aggressive. Arizona, they got some pieces too that really work for them. But like you said, as you go into their bench, it's kind of so if I had to pick one to win through what I've seen, I would pick Houston as well. But I think Arizona does have a really good team though.
You know who else got a really good team? You know who else has a really great team? Do you know who the number one team right now in the country is? Do you know? Don't worry. Don't even answer that. I will answer it for you. It's the Michigan Wolverines, goddammit. Listen, Dustin May, for all the critics out there who said he's going to do a terrible job at Michigan, not the right man for the job after taking over for Juwan Howard. The men's basketball program is going downhill. It's going to be a terrible hire. Fast forward in the last 2 years, Michigan is right where it needs to be, and that's at the top of the food chain, being, of course, having a lot of money. NIL helps, but no discredit. We get an early Final Four matchup again between the number one team in the country, the Michigan Wolverines, and the Duke Blue Devils. Again, two great coaches that are going to go head-to-head with John Shire for Duke and Dustin May for Michigan. If you didn't know, and Michigan's last win against UCLA at home, it is their 10th win, number 10, by 30 points or more. I mean, this team offensively can play at a high level. They've scored 100 points multiple times. And just looking at the ranked teams that they beat this year, they beat number 121 Auburn by 30, beat number 12 Gonzaga by 40. That was their next game. USC by 30, Michigan State by 12. At Michigan State, shout out to the Wolverines, take care of business on the road. And listen, Nebraska, they're going to be a tough team once Big Ten tournament time comes. No sleeper on them. But they beat them by 3 and then winning this earlier this week against number 7 Purdue at Purdue by 11 points. Brian, you know how I already feel about this game right here. I'm fired up more than ever. You know I'm a Michigan fan through thick and thin. Listen, Duke is no team to play with. Michigan is no team to play with. This is the battle of the blue bloods right here with this whole NIL. I look forward to seeing the play from Boozer. I look forward to seeing what Dustin May comes out with because Duke, defensively, they can turn it up. They can definitely turn it up and put that physicality on you. Who do you like on Saturday between number 1 versus number 2, Michigan or Duke?
Duke does not have a shot in hell to win this game. It's not even close. Last year they were beating teams 100 to like 60 something early on. They did it like 3 or 4 times. Michigan this year has dominated the entire year, with the exception of a few games that it was close within 3 points, and Nebraska, which is more of a scarier team than Duke is. I think that Michigan wins this game by 18 points. I don't think it's. I don't. And Michigan is going to win this game by 18. It's not going to be a blowout, but it's an 18-point win for Michigan without any question. It's just Duke to me, they have the same system as they had before. I think they're just really a soft team. I don't think they're really that dominant. And I think Michigan's going to kick their ass. I just really do. Physically, they're just going to beat them up. And right now, they're making the game look so easy that Michigan, in the past games that I've watched, especially against Purdue, they didn't even play that hard. It was that bad. I looked at it. I said, these guys are not even sweating. It makes no sense. They got a 7'4" kid in there. It just all you have to do is throw the ball up, and it makes no sense. So the defense has got to shrink. Now it leaves it wide open for threes. You got dribble drives. You driving kicks. You another 3 year. As me as a coach, I'm sitting here scratching my head like, What do you do to defend that? And then next thing you know, you got another 5 that's on the bench because it's the same damn thing. It just makes no sense. Only team that can beat Michigan is Michigan.
That's true. Hey, look, Purdue's head coach, Coach Painter, he said it himself at his post-game press conference. He said Michigan will not lose 4 games this year, and they only have 1 loss. But, Darrell, let's get to you because I want to get your perspective on this. Right now for Duke, Booz is leading the team in scoring and rebounding with 22 points a game and 10 rebounds. Michigan right now is number 1 team, scoring team in the country, averaging over 90 points. Duke right behind it at 83. Michigan is leading the assist to turnover ratio, averaging 19 assists to Duke's 17. But it comes down to the big, as Bryant talked about, 7'4", Andy Mara. He's been exceptionally well for Michigan, averaging over 10 points a game, 11 points a game, 7 rebounds. What matchups do you look forward to seeing, and who wins this game between number 1 and number 2 on Saturday?
Well, you got to look at it from a number of standpoints. Arguably, this is probably the best college basketball game of the season.
Absolutely.
And it says a lot about both teams putting each other on the schedule to break away from their conference season as well. This is a precursor to a Final Four matchup or national championship game matchup. Let me run it down a little bit. Duke has put together the best body of work overall in the country this year. They have the most quad 1 wins. They're 8-2 against the top 25 teams. But Duke team lives in the paint. According to Ken Palm, they're 4th in the country in 2-point shooting percentage at 61%, but they 172nd nationally in 3-point shooting as well. I think Michigan is built to slow Duke down due to their size up front, as you mentioned. Lindenborg, who's 6'9", Mara, who's 7'4", 7'3", and Johnson, who's 6'9". But here's the thing about Michigan. They're 2nd in the nation, according to Ken Palm, in 2-point field goal percentage. 2nd in the nation. So that's going to bode well for them, putting a halt to the Duke team, who likes to get paint touches as well. But also nationally, they really can score the basketball, as you mentioned, number 1 in the country. So Duke is going to have to defend. Duke is not a very good defensive team when it comes to games like this. Duke is going to have to dictate tempo. If they try to get up and down and run with them, it could be over real early. But here's the deciding factor, as well with it. It's going to come down to that depth. And as you mentioned, Michigan has the best depth in the country. They got 10 guys, 11 guys, 12 guys who actually can start in the country as well. So what Duke is going to have to do, Duke is going to need to get those paint touches, which means getting out in transition. If they play a half-court game with Michigan, they ain't going to have a chance in hell to win. Not at all. They're going to have to get their transition. I believe they're going to have a lot of trouble scoring in the half-court. Duke has to dictate tempo, and Duke is going to have to defend. On the other side of the ledger, Michigan must limit those paint touches, force Duke to shoot the 3-point, get outside the 2-point field goal percentage, and use their physicality. And the deciding factor is going to be the bench, who's going to come up real big, is going to be the deciding factor.
Let me tell you something. Boozer is going to have hell on Saturday. Hell on Saturday. That's all I got to say about that. T, you love me, right, T? Do you love me? Do you love me? You love me? So that means you going for Michigan on Saturday, right? You ain't going for Duke, right?
Right.
That's why you welcome here anytime. You know right from wrong. And listen, give me Michigan. Give me Michigan. It's in a neutral location where I wish we were playing at Ann Arbor. Hell, I would even wish we were playing at Cameron.
Well, that's why I would not say it's unanimous in terms of me picking Michigan because it's at a neutral site. And yes. Duke has been there before. They're 8-2 against top 25 teams. So Duke has been there before. This is the ultimate test, actually, for both teams.
It is.
On this national stage, it is exactly what it is.
It is
as well.
It is.
And I think who can rise to the occasion playing above these big lights?
It's going to be Michigan. It's going to be Michigan.
It's going to be the deciding factor as well. But Michigan, they look great. Now they beat them. You see them when Wisconsin beat them.
Yeah.
Wisconsin shot the ball very well.
But that was a bad day at the office.
Yeah, but Duke is going to have to do that as well, which I don't think people. I don't think they have the physicality or the size to compete.
Hell, Michigan money line. Dustin May, let's go get the dub. You've seen the wins we had against top 25 ranked opponents this year. You see how many times we beat folks by 30 plus points, putting up over 100 points multiple games this year. Listen, Michigan's going to be ready. And John Shire is going to be prepared too. He's good at getting his team prepared. But we get an early March Madness matchup on Saturday between these two teams, Michigan and Duke at 6:30 on ESPN, as well as Houston versus Arizona, 3 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. Let's get it on. And our last segment of the night, episode 52, is Floss with Moss. And I'm looking for something. I thought I had it here. I guess I didn't. I guess I don't. But I got to find it. But let's get into Floss with Moss. Chris, I'll figure it out. Let's go. Our last segment of tonight, Floss with Moss. I was here almost a year ago when USA men's hockey was going against Canada men's hockey for gold. It didn't work out in USA's favor. They lost at TD Garden. You can check that episode out. That was a long time ago. But things have changed. Things have changed, right? We're currently in the Winter Olympics out in Italy, and we get a gold medal game between U.S. women's hockey versus Canada. USA right now is 4-0 so far in the Winter Olympics. Canada is at 3-1. This game will be tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time. I believe it will be on NBC, if not NBC Sports. If you didn't know, USA's journey to get here, 5-1, 5-0, and in a recent game, 5-0 against Switzerland. On February the 10th, these two teams matched up, and USA gave them the spanking 5-0 with goals from Kristen Sims, Layla Edwards, Caroline Harvey, Hannah Baika, who scored 2 goals for USA. And listen, the last 5 games, USA has not allowed a single goal. Let me repeat that. The last 5 games for USA, they have not allowed a single goal. We know the men's team can't beat Canada in the gold medal game, and as history tends to repeat itself. But damn it, it's time for USA women's to change it, to change the whole narrative, change the whole perspective. Come in there, win gold, and go home. It's pretty simple. It's going to be a great matchup between these two teams. And listen, Chris, our producer, if you didn't know, he resides in Toronto. We've been out to the studios, 1990 studios in Toronto, Canada. He's a diehard Canadian. He even gave me some Canadian beer to cross the border. That's not good enough for me. USA is going to win gold on tomorrow, and I look forward to tagging Chris on all social media platforms when USA brings home the gold. So Layla Edwards, let's get it done. Carolina Harvey, let's get it done. Kristen Sims, let's get it done. Let's go get gold in Italy. Let's come back home to the States, and let's celebrate and drink some American beer and watch those sorry Canadian women's over there cry in defeat as they go back home to Canada losing, because that's just what they all about. They've already lost 5-0 to USA earlier last week. Let's make it 2 and send them home where it matters most. And that's all I got to say with Floss and Moss. USA over Canada tomorrow. I wish I had my flag. I don't have it, but we'll have it right here to win gold. Let's close this thing out, episode 52. So going around the room, T, let's start with you. For the people out there that's watching, as well as the people that will be watching this episode, where can they find you, where they can support you? And let's show you love, because this is Black History Month. Shout out to the great Reverend Justin Jackson, who passed away. Shout out to him. But where can the people find you on social media platforms? Give it to them.
You can find me on Instagram at _T8TER_. YouTube, you can find me as just Jertaya Hall. TikTok, you can find me as Taya003. Twitter, the same, Jertaya. You can just find me there.
D, we love you. We appreciate your presence. You know, you've always welcome to come back, as well as I look forward to meeting you in person and giving you a nice broadcast, a hug. But where can the people find you and support you, as well as some things that you have coming down the pipe here in 2026?
I'll be ESPN Plus Friday doing a Rising League game of Oakland and Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then Sunday also I have a Rising League game on ESPN 2 with Oakland, and I believe it's Cleveland State, if I'm not mistaken. And then on March 11th, I'm doing a NBA G League game on FanDuel Network as well. And then I think I'm going to be out in the Midwest doing a Mountain West game. I may be doing a Mountain West game on CBS. I just have to check my schedule as well. You can find me on Instagram, D Jacobs 1921, X, Darryl Jacobs 04. Of course, LinkedIn as well, and Facebook. You can find me there as well. You can also find me at Michigan Chronicle. I'm a sports journalist. I do a lot of different articles also for Yahoo Sports, Sports Illustrated, as well. And also, you can find me and my colleagues throughout this basketball season. And I'm looking forward to the NCAA tournament. I don't know what region I'll be in, but I'm looking forward to calling those games during March Madness.
Bryant, any final remarks before we sign off here on episode 52?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Darrell and get some March Madness tickets so I can sit right next to him and we can sit there and watch the games and I can sit there and celebrate with him and we can drink some Kool-Aid and go out and have a beer or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you come to Indianapolis this year, we'd love to do that.
Oh man, don't say that. That's right. That's right next door. I was just right over there. So hey,
don't say that.
I'm gonna hold you to that one.
Hey, look,
Absolutely.
I'll be on the
and you know, in 27, it's in Detroit.
Oh man. Oh, that's hey, look, I'm right there. So let's make that a date.
Absolutely.
All right, look, love you guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at @3rewind_GSC3, as well as follow us on all of our social media platforms at @3rewind_GSC3. 52 episodes, all grace to the good Lord. Honor and privilege to have these folks, these lovely, beautiful Black king and queen here tonight to join us on episode 52. It's been a blast. To our producer in 1990 Studios, Chris, thank you for all the love and support and the work that you do week in and week out. To our graphic designer, Pat, appreciate you, brother. I love you dearly. Even though he messed up on the graphic, Duke is not 18-6. They are like 24-2. Get it together, Pat. I'm telling you, I know you just moved to the West, to Arizona, but you got to get it together. I love you, though. All love. Please continue to support us. We're trying to keep this train growing. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcast platforms on also. But all grace to the good Lord. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place on Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We got two beautiful guests. I got some love coming from Tokyo, so I appreciate it. We got Ice Young coming, a broadcaster for multiple different networks. She's doing her damn thing, hosting CBS Sports in New York. Right now doing assignment for Unrivaled Sideline, as well as the color commentary. Killing it as women in sports. You know we love that. T, I appreciate you coming on. Professional athlete. I love you. You're right across the bridge, so I'll see you, I'm sure, quite sooner than sooner, and you're welcome here anytime because one thing you said that was wrong, everything women say ain't true. I love you and I appreciate you. So Jertaya Hall, to Darryl Jacobs, to Brian Garvin, Monty Mall, sign off. Episode 52. We'll see you guys same place, same time next week on Rewind on our YouTube channel, brought to you by Global Sports Entertainment 3. And as I always say before I sign off, I'm going to go two things tonight. Two things. Number one, go blue on Saturday. And number two, tomorrow against Canada, USA, bring home the gold, baby. See you guys next week. Love you. Appreciate it.
Let's go!
I was checking out the scouting report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach Tease. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm